Yo, what's poppin', everybody? I want to welcome y'all back to the No Level Cap podcast. Let me introduce y'all to my crew. We've got the collective collectors and Twitch streamer extraordinaire, Will Coleman. Hey, man, I heard you was on Trails in the Sky. What's up with the trails?
We are working towards it, but like I've always said before, my internet service provider has been screwing with me. I gave them a call recently. So far, they've been fine. No one has been sent out, but we still working through the game. So come see me, my
What
fellow
service is that?
insomniacs. What's that? What service is that? Optimum. They're amazing. But they just
Not at
shit
the
the
moment,
bed.
apparently.
They're not optimum.
They shit the bed at night. They do great in the day, but when it come nighttime, it's like,
Yeah, shit, that's what everybody at home I would have thought.
yeah, you would think.
And where you at over there? Where we doing this Insomniac stream?
We doing this over here at twitch.tv/WillieD628. Come see
That's
me
what
over
I-
there. Call me Will when you get there. Just
That's
come
what I
relax
wanted
with
to
me.
All right, next up, we got the Black Daredevil and the best actor in Austin, Texas, Terrence Flowers. I cannot believe I haven't done that in 34 weeks, but whatever. What's going on, Terrence?
That's
Hey
crazy. That's his
man,
state
everything
now.
is all good in the neighborhood. I'm ready to get into the topic for tonight. I think it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. But things are good on my end. Just happy to be here.
I always I like to fuck with Terrence. Like he'll bring up a topic idea that we've already talked about, and then in the middle of it, I'll be like, I don't feel like doing that no more. And so I'll bring up like a new topic and be like, what y'all think about this? And like he really is the G, bro, because he like roll with it. He'd be like, oh, well, actually that does kind of work because I just came up with this one out of nowhere. Like we had this other one on schedule for like weeks, and I was like, you know what? I hadn't done any prep for that one yet. So how about this that I just randomly thought up? So
It be like
and
that
lastly we got
sometimes.
it do be like that sometimes.
It does be like that sometimes.
And lastly, we got the living cartoon and the man with the golden voice, Rakeem Beck. What's popping, Rakeem?
Oh, not much, man. I've started getting into the Star Ocean, the Divine Force lately. Enjoying it, still pretty early. And I think I've not realized I do this in RPGs now. I'm like auto grinding, even though the game doesn't require grinding. It's not even that hard, but I like just being over prepared for the next level wherever I get to. So I'm just in that phase of just kind of going through enemies, getting resources, doing side quests, and like just scrounging. And I mean scrounging the map almost to OCD levels to get every single chest, treasure, item I can get. So I'm having a blast.
I'm glad you're having a good time, though. Yeah, video games hadn't required you to grind in like a while. Like in fact, I think if they released a game that actually required you to grind, that motherfucker would get like nothing but sixes. People would complain, lose their shit. They'd be like, "No, when nobody talk about us old school, they'd be like, how dare you? It doesn't respect our time," which is actually a big pet peeve of mine. But still, like people would be like, "This don't respect your time. It's just wasting your time." Lastly, I'm Sage Ashford, the man who won't shut up. Y'all know on the No Level Cap podcast, we talk about all the anime, all the gaming, and none of the bullshit. We back with episode 34. Y'all know No Level Cap goes live every Monday morning. If you prefer the video version, we're on YouTube. And if you're a fan of the audio version, we're live on Spotify as well. We also put up bite-sized clips of our podcast on TikTok and on Twitter, so come check us out. So one of the things that I feel like separates us as a podcast, as a crew, from a lot of other heavy gamers is our age. And I ain't gonna make no old jokes today because I don't want to. My birthday is very close up, so it would feel particularly hard hitting. So I'm not gonna make any old jokes, but I will say obviously our 20s are pretty firmly in our rear view, and our teenage years are like a distant memory for sure. And I feel like that's important because as you get older, there are different responsibilities that you have to, fulfill. You have to make good on. And I know none of us have children that I know of, but jobs and bills. Hey, I don't know. Y'all might have some kids out there. Not me though.
You know better than me.
What about your kids?
Maybe.
What about kids?
Because of my knowledge, I ain't got none. But you might see somebody. You see them in the streets, they look like me. That one night in random cities.
I can't follow my podcast hosts around 24/7. I don't know what they get up to when they in random cities. So yeah, they might have random kids. I don't know.
See some
We'll,
random
we'll,
kid named
we'll, we'll
Meat
say
Car
for
out
the sake of this argument, none of us have kids.
None of us.
there. Junior, if out there, I love you though. Even though I don't know who you are.
At least you love Junior. Now you
I
just
know,
gotta
right?
find this podcast with 100 views a week. But even though we ain't got no kids, we do got jobs and bills and social commitments and romantic partners that are all making demands are all making demands on our time. And I think with that being said, I know some people see gaming and anime and really all that shit as like a kid's hobby and something that you got to give up at a certain point. Well, obviously, if we thought that way, we wouldn't be even doing a podcast to begin with. So I think like it's worth talking about. Like, I wanted to make a dual topic. One is like, how do y'all find the time to game in your 30s? And the other half was like a generic, what are you playing? And what didn't you play this year that you would have liked to play? And so like, we're going to do a little bit of both. And so I guess the first thing I want to ask y'all, just to get a like, read the room, get like a temperature. What have y'all found the time to play this year so far? Like, we basically at the end of the year. There really is only 2 months left. Just about all the important games are out. I think Pokemon and God of War Ragnarok and Callisto Protocol, I would say, are like the last big games that are coming out this year. And then after
Do you
that,
count Crisis Core?
Oh yeah, that is December.
yeah, I'll count Crisis Core.
Okay.
Because it is a remake from the ground up. So yeah. So that's 4 games. And
Yeah.
I think that's 2 in November and 2 in December. Of course, there are other games coming out in both months, but like the big games, I think those are just the 2. And then after that, you kind of, that's it. So like, I just, since the year is basically done, I want to know, like, what have y'all played so far? So Will, what's up, man? What have you played so far this year?
Well, the way I've been able to actually document what I do is like I have like a pinned tweet on my account on Twitter, and I've just been listing games and like giving like little short recaps on what I liked about them. And so far, I've only beaten up to I've done 10 games so far this year. And off top, I have Urban Reign on the PS2, SMT3 on the Switch, Triangle Strategy, which is my RPG of the year. That game is great. And it's on PC now. You ain't got an excuse if you got a PC. Romancing Saga on the Famicom, 2014 Strider, Party Hard, Bloodstained
is that?
Ritual of the Night. I'll tell you about it in just a second. Rhythm Thief on the 3DS, Steel Assault, which I streamed and beat it in like 3 hours. And I did a finish run of like Fighting Rage, which is like beat 'em up. But Party Hard is like, you've heard of Hotline Miami, right?
Yeah.
Think that, but the premise of the story is that you're this guy who can't get sleep because there's parties going on. So immediately his first thought is, you know what? Y'all live tonight? I'm gonna go ahead and cut it all off. I'm ending everybody. So,
That's
Wow.
That's one hell of a premise.
What a
yeah,
dick.
that's the premise, and you have to go and kill like a ton of people. Like literally, you have to go in there and be incognito the whole time. Like try to fit in, get in as many kills as you can, set off stuff to kill people and everything before the police come and get you.
Fucking monster.
Yes.
If I
And
can't
I
get
finished
if I
Wow.
can't get no sleep, I'm gonna put everybody else to sleep permanently.
Exactly. That's what the
If I
game
can't get no
is.
sleep, you going 6 feet deep. Like,
Bars.
just monstrous. What a monstrous human being.
Yes.
Yeah, the Grinch just in time for Christmas. So like as far as, so you beat 10 games.
Yeah.
Did you like play more? Like, have there been games that you like played and you was like, hey, I'm putting them shits down?
As of right now, the one game I have put down because I think I'm gonna have to start it back over, even though I'm only like 2 or 3 hours into it, is Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse on the 3DS. I got into it, but I started it and then I've tried to pick it back up, and I'm like, okay, I'm at a spot now where I'm fighting a boss. I can't win because I got the wrong demons. So I'm just like, okay, I need to go back and either get new demons or start this over from the bottom. And I'm also doing Trails in the Sky right now, as I've said before on my Twitch stream. I'm doing that. And that's about really all I got. I try to at least keep at the minimum 2 games going. That's it. Just 2. I can't do 3 and 4 and 5. So yeah. People who do it, I commend you, but that ain't for me.
I mean, as far as doing it, I just, whatever game I feel like playing at a given moment in time, I just pick up and play. And if that means that I'm playing 6 games at the same time, technically, then I guess I'm just playing 6 games because, fuck it.
Yeah.
Terrence, man, what have you found time to play this year?
So I will say that my answer is going to be kind of short, and I think that I'm like the outlier here. I really hadn't played that much this year, just because it's not that I haven't had the time necessary to play games, just that I just have chosen to do other things with that time, and which we'll kind of talk about later. And
So that's technically the purpose for this podcast. Like, just,
Yeah.
you know, did you prioritize your time differently to do other things?
Yeah, and so that's what I know we're gonna get into that a little bit later, so I'll kind of explain more in depth there. But as to what I played this year, I played the Cuphead DLC when it came out. I didn't beat it though, but I did play that when it came out. King of Fighters 15, when that came out at the beginning of this year, I played that. Although I didn't do as well with the game as I had hoped. I really wanted it to be like my first KOF that I could really dive deep into, because KOF 13 was technically my first one, and I never got good at it, and I skipped 14. So this one, I was like, this is gonna be my year, and yeah,
it wasn't your year.
The tryhards on with the sweats on that game, man, there's something else. KOF is one of those games where if you have like any kind of legacy skill, you're just going to blow other people out of the water. And I kept running into people who would just kick my ass, and I don't know, I just decided that it just wasn't for me. Like I liked the game, but I just decided to just put it away for now. I might revisit it at some point, you know, who knows, we'll see. And lastly, well, I guess there's two more. The other one is DNF Duel, which I was really looking forward to that. And it's kind of unfortunate that the game has fallen off quite a bit, just because they haven't been updating it that much. They haven't announced any DLC. There's supposed to be like a big patch coming in December, but the communication that they've been giving regarding the game hasn't been the greatest. It's not the kind of communication that we've been receiving from fighting game developers as of late. Like, you know, your Bandai Namco, your Capcom, or even like indie developers, they've been really good about communicating a plan for their game moving forward. And DNF Duel, it's just been kind of like radio silent. They, like I said, they told us that a patch is coming, but there's not really any big details outside of that. So other than it being on the ArcSys tour, their big fighting game tour, that and Guilty Gear Strive, that's kind of it for the game. So I played it a little bit, but I never really just got into it like that. I enjoyed what I did play, but you know, fighting games are one of those things now where I pick it up and it's like, ooh, shiny. I play it for a little bit, get my ass handed to me, and it's like, well, yeah, that was enough, and then I just kind of put it away.
Be honest, I feel like that's most people who play fighting games. Like you have the hardcores, and then outside of that, it's a lot of people who like, oh yeah, man, I love fighting games. And they pick them up, and then they get like, you know, raffle stomped. And then they like, all right, look, I remember why I don't like them, and then just put them back down and just, you know, move on. And then you kind of forget when the next one comes out, you buy it again. My bad. What was your last one?
Oh no, you're good. The last one is, I'll toss this one in here. It's Multiverses. I mean, just because I did technically try it out, so I'll toss it in there as well. I didn't really play that much of it, so you know, that's kind of like just a little bonus game there, but. That's it for me. And none of those fighting games you don't really beat in a sense, but Cuphead I didn't beat, so I really didn't complete anything this year. I mean, there's still time in the year left. Now, I wouldn't mind getting to some games, but I know that we're going to talk about that later. But yeah, that's kind of where I am right now. That's the stuff that I played, and like I said, it's just not that much.
Now, I said I was going to get through this without any old jokes, but I guess I'm not.
What's up?
Look, I might be, you know, getting old and my memory might be shit, but I feel like I said, how many games have y'all played this year? I didn't ask how many games y'all beat, because I feel like that's two whole different conversations.
Well, that's fair.
Because you can put 20 hours into a game and not beat it, but you still put 20 hours into it, so like that's still valid to me. And I mean, even if you put an hour into it, unless you just fucking hated it and want to like pretend you never touched it, like that counts to me. So.
Hey, well, I mean, if that's the case, then I played the Valkyrie Elysium demo, so does that count for anything?
Yes. I mean, like, did you finish the demo at least?
I got to like the last part of it, and I intended to do it, but then I think what happened was the actual game came out, and when I heard how the actual game, how it is, I was like, well, I don't really feel like finishing the demo now, so I think I saw enough at that point. Go ahead.
What's up, Will?
as your local GameStop disc jockey. Yeah, I gotta let you know that recently. Now the game just recently came out, like a week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
About a
To
couple
Valkyrie
weeks ago, maybe a
Elysium?
month.
it's almost
Yeah.
been a month now, hasn't it?
I
About
think
a
it
month
came
now,
out
right?
the end of September.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
about
want
the
to
end of
say so.
September,
Yeah, like
right?
the end of September. I want to say yeah.
Yeah, it's already $10 off right now at GameStop. So it's like 50 instead of it's down $10 in price now.
I
It's
mean,
not a
50,
full 60, it's 50 now. And I
50
was like, that
is
was kind of
about.
I was
I
like, that's
mean,
kind of
that's
quick.
not really. Like it's a
It
smaller
feels like it
title.
to me. So
It's a smaller title for sure. So like I wouldn't.
hmm
I'm not surprised that it dropped. I mean, everything not gonna be a Nintendo game.
They're probably gonna
Oh, of
they're
course
probably
not.
prepping it for like the Black Friday and holiday sales where it goes down even more. So
Yeah, so I was just saying like that right there. It dropped down another 10. Dio Field didn't know, but I guess Dio Field has been getting some pretty okay reviews behind it. So yeah.
I mean, the real test you'd figure as far as like whether or not that's it's dropping in price like by a shit ton. The real test I'd imagine would be like at Black Friday, it's at $30 because
That's a
like
good question.
everything is gonna drop down to about 40 or be included in some 2 for 3 type ass deal.
Yeah.
But like other than that, or 3 for 2, 3 for 2, some 3 for 2
Yeah.
type ass deal. Everything gonna
Yeah.
get that, and then what
Mhm.
doesn't will drop down to 40. But if you down there to 30, if you like half off, like oh okay, y'all really trying to get these off store shelves, so I guess that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Rakeem, what did you play this year?
Woo. Okay. Let's get started. So I have a very interesting phase of this year. I got it broken down like sections. So the top of the year, the very beginning of the year, back in January, I was lost. I had this 2-week long malaise where nothing inspired me to play it. I just couldn't get motivated to play. I took time off from gaming. And at the time I was trying to get back into the Cold Steel series, so turn-based RPGs. I just couldn't do it. So my mind was like, let's try something action. So at the beginning of the year, I started getting back into Warframe again for like a couple of weeks. And it just was a nice kind of go back to an old game I hadn't played in a long time, see all the updates, ton of updates, man. I can't keep up with all of it. Really enjoyed my time with Warframe for those few weeks, but also I remember why I stopped playing it was the grindiness to get suits and, eventually you had to get the platinum and all that stuff. I wasn't into that at all. So I kind of dropped that again. Then I doubled back into Diablo 3 again earlier this year. And that I went ahead and finished I think I finished the DLC campaign again, got into the in-game stuff, kind of enjoyed that part. I didn't go super deep into it, but it was fun for the time I had it. I think Diablo's a game you kind of can jump in and jump out and be fine. Also got into Path of Exile because I like playing Diablo was cool. The end game, Path of Exile has so much more to it because it's more of an MMO almost kind of experience, and they've expanded on it so much. It's just got way more content to it. So after that, after Path of Exile and Diablo and Warframe, I got my action game fix. I went right back into that malaise phase where I was like, I don't know if I want to play anything. And then I saw that Horizon Forbidden West came out. I think toward the beginning of February.
Yeah,
And I started playing for Horizon Zero Dawn for like a couple days. And then what came out? Elden Ring. And that
I don't really be playing Forbidden West. I mean Zero Dawn much at all. I remember you playing.
Yeah, well, some of that was I hadn't moved in with y'all yet. Right till I started playing before I moved in with y'all, like in February. I moved in with y'all in February, right?
January, it would have been the top of in the middle of. No. You're right. It would have been February.
Yeah,
it would have been February.
I played Zero Dawn like in January, towards the end of January. When as many of you know, Elden Ring basically took over my life for like 3 months. So from February to like May, that's what I played pretty much exclusively.
Excuse me.
I was playing that pretty much every day. If I wasn't, I was playing multiplayer stuff. I still play Paladins. Paladins is one of my favorite multiplayer games, so I still play that to this day. Even though it's kind of iffy now, I kind of transitioned to Overwatch 2. But yeah, Elden Ring took over my life for like 3 months. I beat that. I became the Elden Lord. Had a great time. One of my favorite gaming experiences in a long time. I just got completely engrossed in it. So after Elden Ring, I once again had the malaise phase where I was like, what the fuck do I play? Because I just played like a game that took over my life. And I found my love of Mass Effect again. And and I got into the Mass Effect trilogy one more time. I had bought it a year ago, and I beat Mass Effect 1, but I didn't beat Mass Effect 2. So I took the time to play through Mass Effect 2, beat that, and I played a good ways through Mass Effect 3. Unfortunately, I had some save data issues and a bad bug, and I lost a crap load of hours of progress, and that just killed my motivation for
Damn.
Mass Effect 3. So I kind of put that down. Unfortunately, it happens. And just like Terrence, I actually took a chance and around that time played Multiverses. But unlike Terrence, I played that like a lot. I played it for over a month, like every day, and I really enjoyed it. It was just kind of a breath of fresh air to have that Smash kind of like experience outside of Brawlhalla. It was more detailed, had characters from all these different WB properties. It was cool playing with Wonder Woman. I really took a liking to Wonder Woman. I played her the most by far. She was my favorite character to play in the game. I had fun with her and Batman and stuff. And I think I'm gonna come back to it when Black Adam gets announced fully. He should be coming out soon, I believe. They've already announced he should be coming out soon. He got delayed though.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I was like, did they announce him and I missed it?
Man, he's on the menu screen. Literally.
Oh, never mind.
It's on the menu screen.
That lets you know how much time I spent with Multiverses.
Yeah, he's announced. They delayed his update though. That's probably why I didn't hear about it. And then after that, oh man, I got a melee of games I've played. When I got my laptop, I started playing more computer games. So I played this game called Smash Legends, which is actually a mobile game. They got ported to PC, but it's a great PC game, arcade type action game. Played the hell out of it. Yes, it's called Smash Legends because I got Smash Legends.
Did you have like a notebook for this?
Yes.
Holy shit, he kept a journal.
What? Actually, I wrote all of this down while y'all were talking. I wanted to make sure I had everything detailed. So, I played Smash Legends. I got into Vampire Survivor, the bullet heaven game. This new bullet heaven genre is pretty fun because it's basically like you getting it's a roguelike kind of experience, but way faster. Like there's no rooms. It's just one set. It's horde mode, and you just get upgrade after upgrade after upgrade, really fast succession. And all the games in the genre are super cheap at like $3 to $4. So it's a super easy genre to get into. It's cheap and it's fun instantly. I'm really enjoying these games. So I got into Vampire Survivor recently. I think I played another game called Soulstone Survivor, which is really good as well.
I'm addicted to that Vampire Survivor.
That game it's so simple but so fun. I got
addicted to it.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Gundam Evolution. I played a bit of that. I really wanted to get into that on PC.
Gundam Overwatch.
Yeah, Gundam Overwatch. Speaking of Gundam Overwatch, I also got into Overwatch. I played Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 came out on my birthday. Loved. No, I didn't. I'm lying.
You didn't get a chance to play that shit on your birthday? I was here for that.
I'm too positive sometimes. I was like, oh man, no, I didn't. No, it was horrible. The experience for the day one was horrible. You couldn't get into the game at all. If you did get in, you got kicked out. And then on top of that, like the servers were having issues. They got DDoS. My friends and I were all upset. It was my birthday gift to myself to play it with my friends that day, and just got utterly ruined. So thanks, Overwatch.
Blizzard said,
thanks,
"Fuck
Blizzard.
your birthday."
Yep. Hey,
they didn't give
shorty,
a damn.
It's your birthday. We gonna fuck it up because it's your birthday, and he messed up my birthday, and it's okay because over the course of a week they fixed the servers, and now I'm playing it, and I'm still enjoying it. It's not quite what it used to be because it's got the free to play, bells and whistles around it now, but. It's okay. It's something to play when you're bored, and I've been enjoying it playing it last few weeks. Man, there's so many I've played. King of Fighters 15, same with Terrence. Wasn't really feeling getting into it. I just could not get into it this time. I actually got into King of Fighters 14 a good bit. I played a good bit of King of Fighters 14, but 15 I just couldn't get into. Oh, what you about to say something, Sage?
Is it just because you're busy, or is it because it's like, do you feel like it's a worse game than 14?
No, it's not a worse game than 14. I think what's happening is part of the age thing is that when you're playing a fighting game, you really need to have a group that also plays with you to kind of build compatibility, build training partners.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
It's kind of like we played Guilty Gear Strive. Yeah, Terrence, you were there for that. We had several guys who were playing with us at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was a lot easier to get into that game. With 15, we didn't have anybody. At least I didn't have anybody who was really a King of Fighters person who was really into it, who played with me. So me being, a King of Fighters version, I couldn't really learn as much. I'm just going online getting beat. It's very difficult for me to learn the characters. Although I've had some experience with King of Fighters in the past. It's not like I've never played the genre. Like I said, I played 14, I played 98, I played 99, I played 13, but it never was my game.
It's
It
been
never
went
was
back
my
to
game. You know what I'm saying?
98.
You're like Mortal
Man,
the
Kombat
first
is
one.
Mortal
No,
Kombat
the
is my
first one was
game.
Starts in '94.
Yeah.
Right. You know, like Mortal Kombat is my game. If a Mortal Kombat comes out, I know I'm gonna learn the game because I know how this game. I know the mindset behind how they make the game. I can always break it down and get down to the nitty gritty and figure it out. But King of Fighters was a different mentality, a different type of system, something I wasn't used to. So I kind of let that one go. I played DNF Duel. Wasn't feeling that like I thought I would feel it. And another game I played the most of was actually an indie RPG. Anybody who doesn't know me on the podcast or know me in real life is like, I freaking love RPGs. And for some reason, I really like these indie RPGs, these smaller experiences you find online you can get into. I really had fun playing a game called Cosmic Star Heroine. I played this game called Rise of the Third Power, but I think called Stegosoft Games. They make kind of like nice little indie RPGs based in the RPG Maker program. I played that for a month. It was very good. I'm not quite finished with that one. I might go back to it, but I'm a sampler. I admit it. I don't finish a lot of games. I play a lot of games here and there, but I like to sample. Whatever I got a taste for, I play. Sometimes I got a taste for RPG. Some got a taste for a fighting game. You know, might be a rhythm game next week. Who knows? You know, MMO, whatever. But yeah, that's more for the list. Like the Trails of Cold Steel series. I completed Trails of Cold Steel 3 recently. Now I'm playing Trails from Zero and a little bit. I started a little bit just to see the beginning of Trails of Cold Steel 4. I'm probably gonna finish 0 first and then play 4. But yeah, that's pretty much all the ones I played this year. It might be more, but we'll be here all night, so I'm gonna finish right there.
Man,
Let's see, you have a long ass list, man.
You know what I'm saying, bro? I thought I was gonna be gone for a minute. I thought I was gonna miss the next question. Never mind.
I mean, you know, I still hadn't gone, so I have
Very
played
true.
a lot of games, even if I hadn't beaten a lot of them. I did play through. I got it in my head, like when I saw Xenoblade 3, I was like, I need to play Xenoblade 3. But to play Xenoblade 3, I was like, I should probably play Xenoblade 1 and 2. And so I put a challenge ahead of myself at the beginning of the year, and I really hold myself. I got through Xenoblade 1, beat it. Xenoblade 2, getting into it. I got a fourth of the way through, third of the way through, probably. I got a third of the way at the end of Xenoblade 2, and it's not bad. It's not a bad game at all. I quite like it, but there's so many games coming out. There's always something new. There's always something else to check out. And so like it did that thing that a lot of RPGs do where you kind of lose interest in the middle and like you come back to it, but like in the middle, like you do one too many side quests and you like, all right, I need to play something else. And so like I put it down and I haven't been back to it since. I'm somewhere in chapter 6, and I think there's like 10, 12 chapters overall. So like I'm but close to halfway through. Still a great game. I know that it's kind of polarizing because of like the costumes and shit. And I understand that because like some of those costumes are just fucking dumb. They're just designed poorly, and there's really no reason for it because most of the time it's not, the characters don't behave in a manner like, it's not a harem anime, so I don't know why they dress like harem characters. Feels like Sekirei, like the anime Sekirei a little bit.
Yeah.
In terms of like all the girls around the main character, but like it's not, the harem shenanigans aren't there because there's too much like world saving and shit going on. I played Triangle Strategy for like an hour, so like nowhere near enough to like get into it. So you kind of tossed that one. I played Sifu. I got through the first stage and midway through the second, but this was before the difficulty options came out and it kicked my ass. And we're gonna get into this in a little bit, but one of the things that I don't do is I don't play games on hard. I don't have the time for that anymore. At my age and with my amount of free time, like it's just not a good idea for me to sit there and play a game on hard. I know some people, they like that feeling of accomplishment and all of that, and that's cool, but I'd like to actually finish a fucking video game. I don't want to sit there and get my ass beat and then be like, oh well, you know, I'm still working my way through this game. You know, I'm playing it on ultra mega. Fuck your shit, stomp you out all goddamn day hard. Like I'm not doing that. Like somebody else can do that. I mean, it's some game coming out. Marvel's Midnight Suns that has like 8 fucking difficulties. 5 above normal. You know, heroic level 3 and all that shit. I'm like, all right, man. I
didn't know nothing about that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
it's just like punishing. Like I know some people love that shit, but I just don't have the time for it. So, but yeah, they did make an easy mode, so I probably will go back and play it just because it's like a beautiful game, and I do like the combat. I played Super Robot Wars 30. that game is incredibly absurdly long, but I did love it a lot, and I do need to go back and play it some more. I need to finish it at some point. It's just such a long game, but it did give me an appreciation for more mecha, which I'm always down for. Like I wound up falling in love with certain characters like Koji Kabuto and all the Mazinger Z characters. That was dope. It was great getting to see some of the like we talked about mecha before in the past, and Super Robot Wars 30 did have pretty much the only two mecha anime from like the last decade that I really fucked with that were new in Knights and Magic and Majestic Prince. I like both of those universes, both of those sets of characters. So like that was one of the few times where I was like, okay, I appreciate this. It had Gunsword, which I grew up on, that like one of those like anime that nobody remembers anymore, but like I grew up on it. So I'm like, yeah, I fuck with this. Right? Gunsword was a lot of fun, even though it was like it strayed from the usual Real Robot to go back to Super Robot, but it was pretty cool. So like I enjoyed what I got of Super Robot Wars 30. I played a little bit of Weird West. It's this isometric game. It's from one of the creators of Arcane Studios, the people that did Dishonored. Very good game, very well set up. I hate isometric games, but just the concept of like a Weird West setting is something that's so rare, or at least it was rare.
It was not to this year.
Until this year came along, and now you got Weird West and Evil West and Hard West, and
Hard West,
Go West, Young Man, and all this other shit. Like, goddamn. You got all these fucking Western games. Like, I didn't expect 3 different supernatural West games to come out in 1 year, but they did. So, but I like
all different genres.
They were, because I think wait, what's Hard West? What genre is that?
It's like a turn-based strategy RPG.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Weird West is like just a isometric, I think real time with pause, basically. So
yeah, it's supposed to be kind of like the what is that genre called with like Thief and Deus Ex? It's a name for that genre, but I can't think off the top of my head right now.
I was thinking XCOM, but okay.
No, it's not quite an XCOM. Well, it kind of is, because you do have characters that like you can recruit and then they just die and shit. So I said
immersive sim. That's what it's called.
It is a sim RPG. I said my goodbyes to Genshin Impact earlier this year. I don't know if I've ever told this story on the podcast. If I have, y'all forgive me. There was a point in Genshin Impact where I was like really into it and I was playing a lot of it. I wasn't spending a lot of money because I mean, like, I'm a writer, so I don't have a lot. But like I was playing it and doing, engaging in the free-to-play aspects, and then bam, something bad happened. I saw a streamer play it, and I saw a streamer go through a dungeon, and the work that I had to put in to like beat the dungeon, she was not putting in, because she had like all these characters and they were all leveled up, and they she had the perfect team comp and all that. And some of it was a skill issue. Some of it she just played better than I did. But a lot of it I could tell was just like she spent more money on the game. And at one point she even said, "Don't feel bad, y'all. I spent a lot of money on this game." And I was like, fuck, is that like the difference between like free to play and actually paying in this game? And it turned my stomach.
The whale and the virgin Chad.
Pay to win. Pay to win.
Definitely that, Terrence. Definitely that. And so like when I looked at it, it just started to make me look at that game a little differently. I kind of tilted my head and looked at Genshin Impact a little differently, and all the flaws that I was overlooking before just started to pop out at me, like the grindy nature of it, which I guess like I was wrong. Like that's a super grindy game that people just kind of let go because it's so pretty, and it is a beautiful world, right? It's like one of the most gorgeous game worlds that I've ever seen. Like so even now that like every time I see a new trailer, I'm like, should I go back to that game? And then I'm like, no, I remember just how grindy it was, and I look at all the games that I still have to play, and I'm like, you know what, never mind. So like I just put it out my head. I did spend some time in Sim World. I probably spent more hours on Sims than I have on everything short of like the games that I actually beat this year. I played the hell out of Power Wash Simulator. I played the hell out of that last year. I played quite a bit of Gas Station Simulator. That was a lot of fun. Just the idea of being able to build something and create. If you put that same element in like a fantasy RPG, I'd probably play that motherfucker forever. Like a castle customization, like heavy castle customization or something like that. Like I remember Dragon Age kind of took after Suikoden in that fashion. As you recruited people, as you did more side quests, your castle would expand and build out. But if you gave me the option to customize it and do side quests to build it up specifically, as opposed to just like you did unrelated side quests, and once you did a certain number of side quests, the castle just got bigger. If you did like
Dark Cloud.
Kinda.
Mhm.
And then like you remember Suikoden, like as you recruited more characters, your castle just got bigger because it had to. If they did something more like Yakuza, where it's like a specific castle side quest where you just like do stuff and it builds up over, I would be into that. So like Gas Station Simulator kind of tapped into that. So I played a lot of that. And then like there's 3 other games that I played that I plan to beat. Well, no, I beat Spider-Man. I finally beat Spider-Man. I remember I bought it when it came out at launch in 2018, but like then Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out and I started playing that because I loved Origin so much the year before. And so like I wound up playing Spider-Man for like 2.5 weeks, didn't beat it. Odyssey came out. I played that for the entire year, and I was for the remainder of the year. So like 2.5 months, and I never went back to Spider-Man. And then when it came to PC, I was like, I should go back and play it. Amazing game. Amazing. Some of the best combat I've ever experienced in a video game ever. Like it just, you feel like a fucking god when you like, not even master it, just feel like you're good at it. It's so amazing. Like I would go back and play that right now just because of the combat. Gotham Knights I've been playing a little bit of, very slowly, kind of pacing my way through it. I probably will wind up finishing it. There are like, I'm at the stage right now where there are more problems with it than I am enjoying it. But I also was at that stage with Watch Dogs, the first one back in the day, and I wound up liking that game quite a bit. It was a solid 7. This is probably going to be a solid 7, but like still fairly good, right? Like it was good enough. And I like this, as I get used to it and the less the characters talk, the more I'm going to like them. Because like the voice acting in that game is not great, y'all. I'm sorry. Like Nightwing and well, not so much Nightwing, but definitely Batgirl and Robin, they sound annoying as hell. They sound way too young for the job. Like I know that's what they're trying to get across, but fuck that. Like this, it's ridiculous. And I would delve a little deeper into that, but it's been long enough as it is. And then the last game, Trails of Cold Steel 3. Probably gonna finish that. I'm in the last chapter. I'm gonna like as soon as this month wraps up and my workload is cleared up a little bit. We finna get into another topic. As soon as my workload clears up, I'm getting back into that, and I'm probably gonna try to finish it before the end of November. So the next question I have is, how do y'all make time for gaming? Like, what are there like tricks that you have? Are there certain things you do? Do you just like decide I'm gonna set aside specific blocks of time and then that's just it? Or is it just, hey man, if I feel like I'm gaming and I have a spare moment, I'm just gonna game? Terrence, how do you feel?
For me, I feel like nowadays it comes down to just what I want to do the most. I kind of split my, and this is just for me personally, I kind of toss my anime and video game, well, my anime and just like media time in general, along with video games kind of like together. So just whichever I feel like doing more of, I just make that decision. And as of late, it's been more so just watching stuff. Like recently I've been trying to keep up with the fall season. I mean, it's been hard, but I've been trying and somewhat succeeding. I watch a lot of YouTube, and when it comes to video games, I don't put aside time like I probably, I won't say should, but like if I really want to play games like that, I should like put aside time to do so, and I just don't. And also this year has been kind of different for me just because I've started to do more stuff outside of just like, the anime and gaming spheres, been trying to dip my toes into like different experiences, been doing more acting stuff and whatnot. So I guess just for me personally, now I just haven't spent that much time on gaming. So I don't really have any tips. It's just more so I just haven't done it this year. That's really all it is. Now, when it comes to December, since I know I'll have more free time, then I hope to dip my toes into some games then, at least one. I want to try and beat like one thing this year. And yeah, if I don't, well, I don't. But that's really my response to it, is just that I could put aside time to do more gaming, but I just haven't. I've just chosen other things. And I think I will say this. I think now, at least like where I am right now in life, and this could change like next month or next year, who knows. I kind of like following gaming media more so than just playing the games themselves to an extent right now. Like even just watching Twitch streamers play certain games. Like right now, I'm watching one of my favorite Twitch streamers, Maximilian Dude. He's going through the DLC for Resident Evil 8. I don't intend on playing it, but I'm interested in seeing how the story goes and just what they put together for the DLC. So I'm watching him play it. So yeah, just stuff like that. I'll watch certain games. I watch some streamers play, and others I kind of just keep up with the news cycle on, and I have intent to play it, but whether I do or not, it's a different story. Like for Forspoken, for example, I definitely want to buy that game. Now, will I like play it day one or month one or whatever? We'll see. I'll try my best to play it. I'll put it that way, because that game does need support. If anything, I plan on buying it just because I do think that that's an important game to buy. But outside of that, yeah, that's kind of my answer. It's just I think in some aspects I like following more so like the gaming media now, like watching the reviews, just keeping up with what's going on in the industry more so than playing the games themselves, just because that's just where I am in my life right now.
Man, first off, you watching a stream like right now while we doing a podcast? Because that's impressive as hell.
Oh, no, I don't mean like right now. Well, the only reason I say is because it's on the screen. It's paused right now. Like he's not live right now. This is a VOD, so yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say like that'd be impressive as a motherfucker. Like man, balancing the podcast and watching Max stream. Like, oh shit,
nah,
man, it's live.
I wouldn't divert my attenon like that. I need to focus on this.
Maximilian be live. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a fun streaming to watch.
He is, man.
That is a really fun stream. So Will, let me ask you something, man. Like, I know that you like, as you called yourself the GameStop disc jockey. Do you like get tired like when you get home, or do you like find ways to make time for gaming?
I find ways to make time for it, because since like, even though this GameStop job doesn't give me like the full on like, hey, you're gonna be working 9 to 5 every day type hours, I find time when I come home, like especially on nights when I close. I just like, my thing is streaming. I'm just like, streaming is my way for me to get a game in without me having to sit here and ask myself, what do I want to play? How do I go about playing it? How long do I want to play? I'm just like, we're going to play this game for the stream. If we are going to do it for the stream, we're going to set it up for a couple hours. We're going to play it. Sometimes I try to do 2 hours, end up doing 5, but we ain't going to talk about that. So yeah, I find time with streaming. And if I'm not streaming, I do find like other things to play, such as Overwatch or Apex, which are things I can just jump into without having to turn this motherfucker up here on. So I'm just like, just get in, grab the controller, and focus on the objective and get things going. Other than that, I don't really have a lot of tips I could say. But if you are working a 9 to 5, like a full 40 hours a week, and you want to try to fit a game in, if you're not too tired, make it your business to find something that you know you can play. And as much as I hate to say it, if you have something that you can jump into, such as an Apex, such as a Call of Duty, such as a Madden or a 2K, if you have those things, and you just want to jump in and play something before you go to bed, do it. If you are someone like me, though, because just got this yesterday, Star Ocean: The Divine Force.
I was going to say, you going to the
club.
light, the shiny, it was shiny as hell. Divine.
Yeah, it's the holy copy. And you know what I'm saying? I got that. I got Trails from Zero right here. I'm playing Trails in the Sky. I'm trying to do other things, That's what I'm saying. I got a ton of games on hand, especially RPGs. If you are an RPG fan and you have a 9 to 5, just set aside 2 hours. If you're starting an RPG, make sure it's on a day you're off. Because if you're doing it on a night you got to go in again the next day, you're not going to see any bit of that game. Just play it on the weekend. Please save yourself the trouble. Because these games nowadays, these RPGs nowadays, it takes you at least a good hour or two before you really even get anywhere, before they even let you loose. So, yeah. Just pick times, make it your thing. If you know you love it, play it. And don't rush yourself to finish a game either. That's the other thing too.
It's like it's difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even for me, like playing video games. Some days I'll work and then I get out, because like I write about games, so like it's obviously different for me than it is for y'all. I do understand where Terrence is coming from. I sometimes spend more time with gaming media, engaging in gaming media than I do in actual gaming, right? Sometimes I'll just, the most I can do is just like, hey, I'll check out, Gamatsu, or I'll check out Kind of Funny Games Daily, just to like get like my gaming fix, and then that's gonna be it. Last year, I like specifically said, oh man, I'm gonna stream. I'm gonna like go live stream, and then I streamed like pretty much every day, every other day for like the entire year, right? Like and I finished a lot of games that way, played a lot of games that way, tried a lot of games, that type of shit. This year it's been much more rough. I haven't streamed much at all this year. Every now, like unless it's a live stream, unless it's me reacting to like a live stream, most of the time you don't see me streaming. If it's a heavy, work, if I've been writing too much and my brain just feels overstimulated, some days I legit just lay in bed because my brain like can't process doing anything, and I'll just lose several hours just doom scrolling TikTok or whatever. And it's in the back of my head, it's like, you could be playing video games, but like playing video games, especially when you're like an RPG fan, just requires it requires a little more neurons to fire than I feel like, starting up. And so like I'll sit there and I'm like, I don't wanna, And even like the sim games, like when I talk about like Power Wash Simulator, or even more Power Wash than Gas Station, but Gas Station 2 a little bit. Power Wash Simulator, like it allowed me to like start up a game and just not think, just shut the brain off and just like, hey, I'm watching this house, or I'm watching this giant fucking statue, or this ancient temple, or whatever. Like that game is wild. Like the settings, the stages they give you are wild, because it's just they don't just confine you to just like real life shit. But like I'm just in there just, watching and not thinking, and that becomes a thing. Or like streaming, like Terrence said, like streaming, I started watching several streamers since the pandemic, because I mean, like Twitch obviously has been around for years, but I had no idea how Twitch worked. And then like in the middle of the pandemic, I was like, what if I checked out streaming? And I remember our buddy Devin was streaming, and I watched him for a little bit. He was inconsistent because he works. So like I was like, okay, well, let me check out other people. And I stretched it, and now I'm fairly confident, or I'm fairly competent in the world of streaming. And so like I do have my streamers that I'll watch every night or every other night. And so like the thing about making time is the time is always there. Unless you're like managing a business, or like you have a kid, you have kids, multiple kids. Because if you have kids, a lot of this is just academic. Like if you have kids, it's over with. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna say
like,
that's a whole different discussion. Yeah, it's like I'm sure somebody's gonna come into the comments and be like, well, easy for all of them to say no kids, no spouses, none of that. It's like, look, we know.
We get it.
We
see y'all.
Leave me alone. Leave me in my garden alone to talk about topics for hours. Like you don't have to yell at me. Thank you. You don't have to yell at me. Like I get it. Like I know you have kids, and I understand. I do not like the way I would make time, like as far as like how do you make, like as far as offering actual tips. One of the things I would say is, man, just anytime, like if you could set aside 2 hours a day, like if gaming is the hobby that you're like, man, I wish I had time and I don't have time, pick 2 hours. Like, when you get off, is it when you first get off work? Is it when you like the 2 hours right before you go to bed? One of the things I do not recommend, but if it's, if gaming is really that important to you that you like, hey man, I just don't, when I was a kid, what I used to do, because I feel like I never had enough time. And I don't know about y'all, I feel like I had more time to game in college than I did in like high school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It definitely felt like that.
Yeah, like in high school, it was like, hey man, you got all this homework, and you got this bedtime and all this other shit, and let alone any kind of extracurriculars you might have had. It was over with. Like you might have got an hour and a half, 2 hours, unless it was a weekend, in which case you can do whatever you want. But like other than that, like it was over with. So, but like in college, it felt like, oh, I always got time. I just, even just hanging out with friends, you was playing video games.
Yeah.
But like, I don't recommend this one. But if you have the time, if you just want a game that badly, wake up a couple extra hours. Like if it's that, like just get up a little earlier in the morning. get a hour or two of gaming in. Maybe, it help you wake up a little bit more so you're not just groggy while you're doing everything. And it is something that you can start your day off with, and you doing something that you enjoy to start your day off before you go into work and the drudgery of capitalism and all that shit. Before you have to deal with all that bullshit, you can play a video game. I don't recommend that because it means you got to get up earlier than you want to get up. But if you keep regular enough hours, you probably can pull that off. Other than that, the only thing I can say is like the time before you go to bed or like weekends, like if you have a free day on weekends, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, because it's probably not going to be both. Like even without kids, social commitments is going to squash one of those days.
Yeah.
If you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend or just a partner, like a romantic partner, one of them days is out. Like it's Saturday or Sunday, you have to pick one of those and ball it up, throw it in the garbage as far as gaming time goes. So like pick one day and just be like, oh man, I'm just going to play, whatever game, have a game picked out. Like, oh, I'm definitely playing this game in particular. Pick a game, play the shit out of that game and enjoy yourself. But other than that, like those are like the 3 biggest tips I can offer you. Like those, as far as like carving out time. Rakeem, what would you say? Like, how do you make time for gaming? Like, I know you got hella work and all that other shit. So like, and then you got acting classes and all this. So you're always trying to do like extracurricular type stuff, which is weird because we're out of school. But like, you always trying to build on yourself as a
like
person.
taking online classes for no reason, just
so like
the overachiever.
It's like doing stuff. So for me, it's weird. I try to do all types of other stuff, and I still feel like I game too much. I think it all goes back to when I was a child. My parents had a strict rule that was enforced my entire life. No gaming through Monday through Friday. Gaming is only for the weekends because I was in school. And I remembered that. And of course, when I got to college, I was like, if all that, I'm going to play whenever I want to. But now I think how I compartmentalize my gaming. The best time I did, of course, was during the pandemic where everybody was inside.
Oh yeah.
I find that I game more and better when I put myself on a schedule that's a little more solidified. So I have a regular work schedule. I work 8-hour shift. I'm pretty much a 9 to 5. So I know after I get off work, I usually eat something or watch something. So that's usually my YouTube time. And then I get some gaming in after that. What helps me essentially is that I have a gaming group of friends I play with online. A community that built up over the last few years of people we just play multiplayer games with. And as a result, because you have that community, we kind of check in with each other and talk to each other about what times we want to get on and play. And then we'll decide to play it. Whether it's like something like Overwatch, like 2, like we're playing right now, or Diablo, or Paladins, or Payback 2, Titanfall 2. I spent a lot of time playing multiplayer games with a bunch of guys, and that kind of having that community, we kind of set the same times on the weekends and days to find that time. But I also had to balance the fact that I'm a single player guy. I'm not just a multiplayer guy. So although I have friends who really don't care about single player at all. They can play multiplayer for the rest of their life. That's not me. I gotta have an RPG or a single player campaign or something experience. I cannot wait for God of War in 2 weeks. Oh my God. Oh my God. But I find that I tend to try to give my multiplayer time to my online friends who like to play multiplayer 2 to 3, 4 times a week. Then I take a break of 1 or 2 days out the week and get either play a single player game that's trying to finish. Like right now, I'm playing Star Ocean, and I know that's a game I'm gonna spend a lot of time with. So I'll probably spend like 1 day of multiplayer, another day on Star Ocean, and flip flop it like that. And I usually play between 3 to 4 hours a day, and then the rest of that time I spend on myself. Maybe doing like studying in my acting class, doing some type of online audition for voice acting or something like that, or exercising, trying to be productive. Like right now I'm studying program management on the side. I'm trying to get a certification in that. So that's something I'm studying as well. I actually find that it is easier for me to do things when I have a whole bunch of stuff to do. I cannot deal with not having anything to do. It drives me insane. It makes me super unproductive. So that's why I try to just find things to do. I'm even looking into like doing community service. Like I'm serious. Like I gotta having 6, 7, 8 hours ain't good for me. I need to fill my day up. So I try to actually fill my day up, find time and compartmentalize everything spend time with some friends, play some multiplayer games on certain days, then spend a few hours playing single player games. My work schedule, sometimes I work on the weekends, but it's a little lighter. But I'm able to kind of balance it. Just like you said, say some days I wake up a little earlier. And luckily for my job, I can go in earlier and just leave earlier. I can go in early if I want to. I don't always have to go in at 7. I can go in at 5:30.
Convenient as a motherfucker.
I can go in at
I know, right?
5:30. I can go in at 6. I can go in at 6:30. As long as the work gets done, and I tell my boss, hey, I came in at 5 today. Boom, I'm good to go. So that's very convenient. But I actually find it easier to just kind of pack my day with things I know I need to do. So I try to make sure I get my gaming in. And like I talked to you guys earlier, is that sometimes I feel like I get too much gaming in. Sometimes I cut myself off. I'll tell my friends, hey, I'm not playing today. I have things I have to do. And I'll go take care of my, like something I'm studying on or something I need to get taken care of. Because it's very easy to get distracted and lost in gaming as well. And as adults, it's not good to spend all your time gaming. Now, if you don't have anything else to do and you good, you got a great job, your time with your girl or whoever you're with is good, or you just have that type of schedule where you can do that, by all means. But as for me and my future, I can't spend 8 hours playing a game no more. Those days is over.
Me and my
I found myself this morning playing Star Wars for 4 hours. I'm like, nope, turn it off. So just to reset my mind and get ready for the podcast itself, so I'll be prepared for that. But yeah, so I have the opposite problem. I have to balance myself not playing games too much instead of finding time to play games. It's weird. Even though I'm, as Sage knows, I stay busy and try to find things to do, but I still have too much time to play games for some reason. But that's just how my life is.
Rakeem is like living proof that it's more time in a day for certain people, right? Because like
Just
every
depends
time
on
I
how
turn
you
around,
organize it,
Yeah,
I'm-
very true.
no, I mean, damn all that. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about it. Feel like it's just more time in the day for Rakeem than it is for other people. And there are some people that just it feel like, because like I feel like whenever I come downstairs, Rakeem is always playing a video game. But also like I've seen him go do other shit. I've seen him leave the kitchen, the living room, and go do other things. I've seen him leave for acting class. I've seen him do all these things. He talk about project management, and I've seen him on his laptop doing project management type shit or like some other kind of course, online course. And I'm like, where the fuck you finding all this goddamn time? Like, I don't get it. So I understand where
the
he's coming
secret
from.
is that Rakeem actually knows shadow clone jutsu, and he's just making multiple copies of himself to do all these things. He's having us think that he's just one person doing all this, but secretly it's 5 of him doing a bunch of different things. Yeah, I'm on to you, Rakeem.
I'm gonna tell you the real secret. The real secret is when you have a 9-to-5 like kind of job like me. Secret is what you said, Sage. Just get up earlier. It makes
one thing I will
or 2
say
hours makes a huge difference.
One thing I will say about Rakeem, Rakeem goes to bed at like 11, 12 o'clock every night. In fact, it's almost like his brain kind of shuts down around those hours. And so like he sleep early, and so he can get up early, and that kind of helps, as opposed to me, because I'm a freelance writer. And so like I'm sleep at 4 a.m. and then I wake up at 10 a.m. or whatever the fuck, and I just kind of meander about the day. And I'm half awake and half in hanging out with Morpheus. Sleep is a motherfucker. So like, or dream of the endless, if y'all, if that first half flew over your head. So like, if you like me, you probably up all hours of the night, and then I guess you don't get the same quality sleep. But Rakeem, I guess he does, because I've heard him, like I'll be up at 4 a.m. about to go to bed, or like 5 a.m. about to go to bed, and I'll hear like some shuffling around, and I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, oh, it's Rakeem. So like I guess that is what the answer is. Like you keep regular hours and you get your ass up earlier than everybody else. So
You getting ready to clock out, he's getting ready to clock in.
it is a lot like that.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
it's going well for me, and I'm not like letting my schedule completely go out of control like it is today and tomorrow and presumably on Monday. When my schedule is completely under control, I am going to bed at around 4:30, 5:30 o'clock in the morning, and I'll hear Rakeem, and I'm like, oh well, all right. What's up, Rakeem?
Oh yeah, but just the main thing I want to emphasize is that as I've gotten older, prioritization of what you do in your day matters so much more. Like I've been reading about habits lately. Like I read a book called Atomic Habits, and it opened my mind to analyzing what the hell you do every day. Just analyzing, like, literally, like, if you just take a day and just write down everything you actually do, you'll realize like how much time you're spending on stuff and how much time you need to spend on the things you need to do, and it puts things in a different perspective for you. So that kind of mindset kind of helps me. I'm still working on it. I'm not perfect. There are days I have days where I laze out. I'm tired, or like I'm like, I don't feel like doing this today or whatever. But there are days I need to get focused. I prioritize my day more. And any gamer who's listening to this, any anime watch or whatever, really think about even 2019, 22, 20. It doesn't matter. Think about prioritization of what you need to get done every single day. And believe it or not, over time, as you prioritize things, you will find way more time for gaming than you ever have before. Just think about that.
This is he's talking about, to some extent, mindfulness, and it's a good idea to keep rolling around the old noggin. There are some of us, I admit, that we're just like minutes just kind of flutter away, and it probably does help if you stay focused, or like figure out like, okay, I'm gonna do this at this time and this at this time and this at this time, and you probably will walk away more productive. With all of that being said, what game y'all wish y'all had gotten to play this year? And I'm gonna ask y'all, because we are running kind of long, to keep it a little light. Okay. 3 to 4 games. Just let me know, like, these high notes that I just fucking missed. So like, Terrence, like, what games do you feel like you wish you had gotten to play this year?
Okay. I bought Guardians of the Galaxy. I really want to play that. I bought that for cheap. I got that for like $20, and that's actually one of the games that I do want to play before the year is over. But we'll see. Anno Mutationum.
Oh,
Yeah. It's like the cyberpunk RPG, like a 2D side scroller game that came out. I bought that, and I want to play that. Like it's each time that I see it when I boot up my PS5, it's like, yeah, I need to get on this.
We need to play.
It's in the SCP Foundation universe too.
Oh yeah, I definitely have to check that out. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. I bought that DLC, so I need to play that before. What's the next one called?
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah, Rebirth. That's what it's called. Rebirth. Before Rebirth comes out, I'll have to play that. For that, we'll just keep it to those, because I do want to, like, Horizon. I do have a Horizon because it came with my PS5, so I do want to play that. Although I need to get through Horizon 1 and God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok, when that comes out, I eventually want to get to that. But those are games where I'll get to them when I get to them. But yeah, that's my short list right now.
Will, what you got for us, man? What's the 4 that you like? I should have got to these, but I'm not gonna get to these, or I don't know if I can get to these.
Okay, so first off, because I bought it and I've anticipated it, but I hate that every time I look at this game or even look somewhere remotely related to the series, I always hear that this game is bad. SMT5.
You've heard that's bad?
I've been seeing people like, can we just admit that this game is bad? And really? I'm like, it's like a half and half with people on this game. Like, some people love it, and then there's that other section that's like, this game is shit. And I'm just like, what's going on here? Am I missing something? Like, these games are usually pretty quality. I mean, like, aside from like some of the writing that Atlas like puts out in some of these games, but these games are good. So I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. So I got to get to it one day. My next one, just like Terrence, gotta get to this. I got to get back to it because I started it, and then when I got the PS5, I loaded it up. But apparently my save data didn't come along with it because I thought there was like a data transfer thing. So now I got to start from the top. So yeah, that this here. 13 Sentinels.
Oh man!
Oh wow, okay.
Dude, I need to play that as well. I've had that sitting on the shelf for so long, and I've heard so many good things about it.
That's what I'm saying.
I need to as well.
I've heard just a ton.
It was just so different from what they usually make for me. That's why I was a little concerned about playing it, but I might play it one day.
The story, from what I've heard,
Yeah.
it's top tier. Like if you just like it's like
Yeah.
peak science fiction. It's just really good.
Right.
That
yeah,
is what
people
I've
love
heard.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last but not least, the game that I know for a fact I need to play because my birthday month is in February. And there's so much shit in that month that I don't even know how I'm going to make it through it. But Sage will be appreciative of this one because I need to get through it soon. Octopath fucking Traveler.
Hey,
I
fucking love
got,
that game.
I gotta get into this game. I got to because I seen him play it and I'm just like, yeah, I kind of got to get this because this game looks amazing. It looks like it's great. I love the way the world looks. I want to play it. So this is one I definitely got to put at the top of the list to get moving.
I can't stand 16-bit, 8-bit, them throwback looking ass games. But it's something about the way that Studio Asano does theirs that's just, yeah, I know, Keem, I'm sorry, but I fucking
I love that genre.
them throwback ass games. I'm like, man, cut
What's
that
wrong with
bullshit.
the throwbacks, dude?
Hey, Say said you could throw them back in the trash.
Don't worry, throwbacks. I'll catch him. I'll catch him. Everyone
There's
they
plenty
throw,
of
I'll
people that
catch
love them. I'm just not one of them. But it's just something about them HD 2D games from Studio Asano. They just
They hit.
they look glorious. And like,
They hit.
hats off to Konami. Well, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like they trying to get Suikoden off the ground, like they doing Suikoden remasters, and they can't quite do the HD 2D thing, but they're doing parts
cleaned
of
up
it here
pretty
and
well.
there, and it looks like Suikoden 1 looks glorious. Like I'm so excited. I'm gonna wind up buying that, even though I've already played it and bought it before twice. So like I'm gonna still wind up buying it.
We will.
I guess if we gonna run through like 4 of them really quickly. Star Ocean, definitely. Star Ocean was one of my favorite franchises growing up. 2 and 3, still some of my favorite video games. So like that. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I still need to I'm gonna try to beat Xenoblade Chronicles before February comes and chokes the life out of me, video game wise. So like that definitely, because like I've heard nothing but good things about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for the most part. There are some flaws, and I kind of knew that there would be. There's no towns in the game, which I don't care what RPG it is and what excuse you have. You gotta have towns in your game. It strips the soul out of your game if you ain't got them. So like,
That's right.
I understand what they was going for, but nah. I will say I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Terrence said Guardians of the Galaxy. I bought it for cheap too. It was on sale for Steam for like some dumbass low price, and I was like, yeah, let me get this. And I haven't gone back and played it, so like that. Live Alive, but like probably I may not play that because it's so close to February, and February is going to be devoted for me to like Octopath Traveler 2. Like I loved Octopath Traveler 1 so much, and I'm so excited to dip back into that world. And I don't want to like tire myself out with that whole art style and like the HD 2D style of it. So I mean, like with 4 months to go and so many other games that I want to play instead, I want to play as well. I'm probably not going to get a chance to get to that. So I guess my last 2 would be Horizon Forbidden West. I played enough of Zero Dawn, and quite frankly, Zero Dawn kind of creeped me out in some ways. I'm not a big after the end type of guy, but like Forbidden West does something with its plot line and with the world. And I don't want to spoil it because I know that there are at least 2 people on this podcast that want to play it. And there are probably some people out there that watch us that would want to play it. So I'm not going to spoil it. But Forbidden West does some things with its storyline that makes me go, okay, I can kind of put aside my hatred and distaste for like dystopian games to play this. So like I'm really interested in playing that. And then Cold Steel 4. I'm wrapping up Cold Steel 3. And so I would love to get to play Cold Steel 4. I don't know if I'll get a chance to do it, but maybe. The last question that I wanted to ask, and this is a rare 4th question for us.
Well, I think we skipped Akeem.
Oh shit! Holy fuck! I really am getting old. I am getting old.
No, you're not.
35 coming up in like
We're not claiming
28 days. So like, there you go.
Congratulations.
Rakeem, what 4 or 5 games you got? What's up, man? What do we? What did you not get to, and what's like about the?
All right, I'm rolling through them. So we'll start off with Weird West. Was a game I was very interested in. Same thing for the setting, the Western setting, the kind of these fantasy elements added into it as
You're
well.
gonna love it.
I
It's
think
really
gonna
good.
It's my cup of tea. I think I might really enjoy that game, so I'm gonna try that out. Next, I started this game, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Started it, never finished it. My little brother beat it in a weekend, and he loved it. And I'm playing with some friends. I liked it. My little brother's more of a Borderlands fan than I am, and I love Borderlands. He's a bigger fan, so I'm definitely gonna get back to that game. I wanted to finish that off at least. I enjoyed Borderlands 3. I know people has their issues with Borderlands 3, but I enjoy Borderlands 3. So I'm still on the Borderlands train for the foreseeable future. So I'm playing Borderlands and the upcoming Tales from Borderlands game that's out now. I think.
Yeah, it's out right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably getting that as well. Next, Mass Effect 3. I started it, had bad save file. I will return one day, Mass Effect. Whenever it comes, it comes. I can't tell you. I can't predict when that's gonna be, but I will be back at some point. And finally, Horizon Forbidden West, just like every month on this podcast. I started Horizon Zero Dawn again this year. I kept trying, just couldn't get into it at the time. Elden Ring had me in a chokehold. But I will try to finish Horizon the original, and if I don't get to it, I'm just gonna skip and just go straight to Forbidden West because it looks gorgeous. It looks freaking gorgeous. I think that world's fun, explorable, and I'm excited for it. So I'm gonna get to that at some point. So those are my 4.
You know what we forgot? Me and you both. Marvel Midnight Suns.
That's this year.
That is.
That's December, I believe.
Yeah, it got
Holy
pushed
crap,
back
I thought
again.
it was next year.
No, it's
crap.
December. So
Yeah.
I had it up here, but I had a list of like 12 games, and I was like, all right, we're not gonna go through all 12 of them. So.
I mean, I only had 4 too. I mean, I've also mentioned Crisis Core because I love Crisis Core.
Yeah, I left that off too,
Oh,
but I was
yeah, I
like,
left
it's
that
not
off.
out yet, so it's like I'll get
Right.
to it when
When
it
that
actually
come out,
comes
We'll
out.
get it when we get it.
Yeah.
When that come out, boy, it's over.
I agree.
Gun Gaga.
So the last question is, has being older made you prioritize what games you're playing like differently? Like have you like, I'm not gonna I can't prioritize this type of game anymore, or I know like I'm not even gonna get to this. So like there's certain games I know that I just cross off, like I'm not gonna get to that shit. I'll get into that a little bit more later. But like Rakeem, my bad for skipping you, so I'm gonna just lead off with you. Has the age, like as you grow older, do you like prioritize games differently now?
Absolutely. So in the age we're in now compared to when we were kids, games are not just games. They're a conversation. Like I talked about Elden Ring earlier in the podcast. That game was very much a part of the conversation of like just the media of gaming itself.
It was like the cultural zeitgeist.
It's cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I really like being a part of that cultural zeitgeist when it happens with certain games because it's easy to find information about those games. It's easy to find guides about those games. It's easy to talk to people about those games and share that excitement. So like the games are kind of the big heavy hitters in the year that are also genres I like because it could be a heavy hitter. It could be a horror game. I'm not a horror guy. I don't care how heavy a hitter it is. I'm not a horror guy. So I'm not going to prioritize that. But, you know, like Elden Ring or Final Fantasy, something like that, I'll always kind of prioritize those over. So games that I already like in genres I already like, for instance, Star Ocean is a series that me and Sage have loved for a very long time, part of our childhoods. So that's a series I'm going to prioritize over like another random action game that comes out at the same time. So I would say games like that. I play a lot of indie games, and I'll be very honest with y'all. You guys know I love these indie games, but if a game comes out that I will prioritize over it, Sage knows I'll kick that indie game to the curb real quick. I might come back to it. I might not. It is what it is. I'll support the indie developers. I own every Supergiant game. I will not say I have beaten all of them. I'm gonna leave it at that.
All I can say is that if a AAA title comes out, and I'll know if an indie game is really good if like the AAA title come out, he playing it, and then like a month later I'll hear him be like bring up the same indie game he was playing before that title came out. I'm like, oh, it must have been fire because he went back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like that's kind of a priorities for me. So games are kind of in the conversation. Genres I love the most, or I prioritize heavily. And then some multiplayer games as well. Games that I know me and my friends will like together. If I enjoy a game and I know my friends will enjoy it too, I kind of like Avengers. Part of the reason I got an Avengers, even though it had some red flags in the beginning, was because I knew I had friends that also enjoyed that game. I could play it with them as well. So that kind of made, just a good, experience for us to play. It didn't turn out to be the best game, but I did have fun with it. And I did enjoy playing with my friends at the time online. I didn't hate that experience, altogether. I was frustrated by certain elements of it. But yeah, so certain games that I think me and my friends will play, like 4-player co-op horde mode games, or like adventure games, or like the zombie games, like Back for Blood was a good example. Titanfall 2's horde mode, Payback. Is it Payback? Yeah, Payback. Those games like that, I prioritize as well. So certain multiplayer games and genres that I really like. The zeitgeist, the games that I think will be more in a conversation because I can actually have a conversation, and having that conversation matters to me. It's kind of nice to just be able to talk to people about things, in gaming that you like, and can share that excitement or share your concerns and have that conversation back and forth. Because if I try to bring up some random indie game that none of y'all give a fuck about, it's going to be kind of hard to have a conversation about it compared to like God of War, where opinions will be all over the place. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how I kind of prioritize things.
Will, what do you think, man? Like, have you prioritized games differently, or are you just like, hey, man, I just play what I'm gonna play?
I kind of prioritize them a little differently, and usually it's like I said, because I stream, and you've been kind of a part of the journey as well here. You've seen the last 2 games that I played, Steel Assault and Fighting Rage. Those are like action beat 'em up short games, like really short games you can get done if you're great at them, anyways, at least within like an hour's time or so. And for me, not being exceptionally great at them, I get them done in at least 2-3 hours tops. I take games like those and try to throw them in between my RPGs. So like if I play something like a 40-hour RPG, I'm gonna throw in something short like a Steel Assault, or something short like a little small Metroidvania, or like a short like stage-to-stage action game. I like to throw stuff in like that. If I can get those like little games in between, and then I play something like, well, as of right now, Trails in the Sky. Like once I get through with that, I'm gonna jump into something short, so that way I can take my mind off of it and then jump into the next one. That's kind of how I do it. I take it like if I'm playing a long game, we're gonna put something short here, then we jump to the next long game and kind of alternate between them. But if I can see myself going back to back long games, that means I'm really enjoying what I'm playing. So if Trails in the Sky can hook me, I'll be going straight to second chapter right after. So yeah. So that's how I prioritize my games, on how fast I can get done with them, but also is my enjoyment at a high enough level to keep me playing them. I love indie games just like Keem. And for those of y'all that don't know, this man right here done supplied me with like 2 or 3 different games. He done gave me Rise of the Third Power and a couple other ones that he done had on hand. Arafel. He done gave me all types of little random
games I had
indie
keys
ones.
for, because I like kickstarting indie RPGs. That's like
Yeah.
a little short passion of mine. Like if I find a really good indie game and it's dope, and then I don't see no red flags, developer makes sense, I'm backing it every time
Yeah.
because I want more of them. And I
Right.
need more of them.
You back
So-
the Wild Arms and
Yes, I back both of them. Both of them.
He hopped on them quick.
Both of them. Both of them.
Both of them.
Both of them.
But yeah, that's my thing, man. Prioritize your games how you see fit. At least that's how I do it. If I see them, like, you know what, let me play it. I know a game that I feel like you can play and you can always go back to it. Play Saga Frontier. Gives you 8 characters, and literally each story is pretty short, because I went back and looked at my save file recently for one of the characters. 14 hours. 14 hours for her story.
Ain't bad.
And then you can go to another character and probably get like a shorter one in, or get a longer run in, and there's like 2 different endings for like 3 or 4 of the characters. So like you can kind of balance which way you go with it. So that's how I like that.
Terrence, man, has being older made you prioritize games differently, or are you still just the same?
And this is a very interesting question, because as soon as you brought it up before we started the podcast, I was like, I have something to say about this one, just because the genres that I play now that I used to play when I was younger, it's not that I can't get into them anymore, but the way that I approach them is so different. Like JRPGs is the biggest one. I remember back in like high school and college, I went through Persona 3 and Persona 4. I was just playing them like it was nothing. Like I just enjoyed the story and the game so much that it was easy for me to just jump into the world and just stay there for hours on end whenever I had time, of course. I mean, I still, took care of my schoolwork, and I still, had like social interactions and all that good stuff. But whenever I just had free time, I spent that playing games like Persona 3 and 4. When it comes to Persona 5, when that came out, I just didn't have the part of me didn't want to like jump into another like 100-hour game like that. It's just like, it feels like such a huge time sink that I could spend that time doing something else. And so it's just, what you got, Will?
Okay, now on the topic of P5, I want to just kind of bounce on that for a second. When it came out, mind you, my black ass was still in college. So it's kind of like what Say said, when you're in college, you kind of feel like you got the time on hands. Like you kind of got infinite time to kind of game. It came out like towards like the tail, like close to like the middling part of that semester in spring for me. And I was like, I'm getting this game. I love the series. I'm going to play it. I sank a ton of time into that all through the rest of the school year. Because I'm just like, this game is that. But I know you were at a different point in life at time compared to me. I was still sitting in the dorm room. You was out here shaking hands and getting paychecks, So
hands and getting paychecks.
You know what I'm saying? So
you could call that a job.
I mean, hey, look, he was doing his thing. I was in there writing a new paper for somebody. So I had time and he was getting money.
Yeah. Well, I made that comparison to, I brought Persona series just specifically just because those games are known for being really long. And for me, doing that back in college, like 10 years ago, whatever, it was easy, but now not so much. And yeah, I could put time aside to do it, but it's not quite the same. And even for, like nowadays when I play certain games, like I'll still play fighting games just because it's easy to pick those up. And, after you, learn the gameplay systems and kind of like what you're doing and you play people online, you could just jump in and out of that whenever you want to. It's not like a story-based game where once you jump into it, you kind of need to stick there for a little bit, because if you leave and you don't return for like months on end, you might come back and be like, what happened?
What was I doing?
What was I doing? Yeah, what was I doing? The good old the good old RPG curse. It was like, what was I doing before now? Yeah. And so for right now, I find myself just where I am right now in life is I kind of don't mind playing the shorter stuff, kind of like Cuphead, where that's a boss rush game where you could just jump into it and it takes you like less than 10 hours or so to beat that. Of course, it depends on how long it takes you to get through the bosses, because they're very challenging. But yeah, something like that, that's easier for me to complete than it is something like a Persona 5 or any of the big other JRPGs. And I will say that the pandemic was definitely an exception to that. Like when 2020 hit, that's when Final Fantasy VII Remake came out. I spent the majority of that year playing that game. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. And so at that time, I had time. Obviously, all of us had time because we,
you at home.
The world, yeah, we were at home and the world was in a state of chaos. We didn't know what was going on. So that was completely different. So that year, I played a lot of games. I played Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I played a bunch of other stuff. I'm not going to go into it too deep, but I just say all that to say is that, yeah, the way that I look at certain genres now is definitely different in comparison to the way that I looked at it like 5, 10 or so years ago, like when I was like a teenager or in college. Could I still in theory play those type of games now? Yes. It's just a matter of, like what Rakeem said, kind of like prioritizing your time, and I'll be honest, I just haven't prioritized my time for gaming like that. I do need to, I will say that I think I do need to kind of reevaluate some things in that regard, because I do want to get back into gaming. I have plenty of games that I haven't played, and I always see games as like, they're like books in a sense, like every time you open up a new book, like that's a new world that you're diving into. And the same thing with video games, that every time you put your disc in the console or you download a game, that's a new world that you're diving into. So I kind of miss that feeling of being in those worlds. And it's not the same when you're watching like anime or movies or TV, you're just kind of like just watching it. Whereas games, you actually get to, take the controller and experience it. So it's a different feeling. But yeah, that's ultimately my answer, is that, yeah, there's certain genres that I don't approach them the same way anymore, but I still have love for those genres. Like I very much still love JRPGs. It's just that it just feels like a insurmountable task sometimes. Like looking at the amount of time that's needed for a certain game, and it's like, oh, do I really want to get into this? So yeah, that's where I stand.
I understand that on like a day-to-day level. I don't understand it. And I mean, like, I'm not saying you're wrong, obviously. It's just, thought processes. I understand that on like a day-to-day level. Like in on a given day, my brain sometimes, like I said earlier, is just not ready to like digest a story and complex emotional elements and all that shit. And I just can't do it. And so I pick something that's easier to engage with. In terms of time commitment, I never really think about that. I just kind of I pick up a game if I feel like I'm going to play that game. If I feel up to playing that game, if I feel excited about playing that game, I just get into it. If I don't beat it, oh well. If I mean, like, I always want to beat every game, but like if I get distracted for like a long period of time, oh well. I tend to kind of remember things pretty easily. Like sometimes what it does do if I put a game down for too long is I might get emotionally detached from it a little bit, as opposed to like that same level of investment.
Yeah,
but
like the momentum isn't the same.
Yeah, like Witcher 3, I didn't. Well, I won't use Witcher 3 as an example because the other stuff went on with that. But there are other games. There are like long games that I've played where I'll stop for a while and I come back to them, and people are like, "Oh yeah, you don't remember this?" Like, yeah, I remember it, but like as far as the emotional connection, it just kind of vanished because of the momentum, as Terrence put it. It's just gone. But like as far as other than that, I don't. The hours that you put into a game, I'm kind of like, it is what it is. Especially if you look at it the way Keem looked at it, where it's just like, hey man, set aside 2 or 3 hours a day. I mean, if you can put aside 2 or 3 hours a day, it don't make no difference how long that game is. Eventually, you're gonna beat it. So like, that's just how I personally look at it. As far as how it makes me prioritize games differently, I will say this: Rakeem is such a nice guy because he talked about wanting to be a part of the conversation and like, being able to engage. I don't care nothing about that goddamn conversation.
I like how it looked like Rakeem was like looking around like, who, me?
Yeah, I caught that. I was like, but like, I don't give not a damn about the conversation. Like Elden Ring came out, I was like, that's cool. It don't look like my type of world. We moving on. And I like RPGs, but also I don't like FromSoft games because them shit's just too punishing for me. And like I said, I'm not gonna play no long ass, like hard ass game, which is why I put down Sifu. And in any game that's like, if you make your bones about how difficult you are, I'm like, okay, well, I have to move on. And that's part of the prioritization process where I'm like, I need to be able to get through the game. And if I'm replaying certain segments, especially if it's long, if I'm replaying certain segments, I'm never gonna get through that bitch, and I can't move on to the next game. So like that is a big deal for me. The other thing that's a big deal for me is that I've learned the difference between I've got to play that game and I kind of want to play that game. Mm-hmm. Like they're not the same thing. Like I look like Octopath Traveler, I gotta play that game. In so much as you have to play any video game, right? But I really, really need to play that game. Like I'm so excited. That's day one. I'm paying $60 or however much they charge for. I'm paying that because I just gotta have it. But like Bravely Default, I just never quite connected with that on the same level. Right. And so like, even though I kind of want to play it, that's one of those things where I just prioritize it out because I'm like, I ain't got time for this. I just don't. And there are other games like that. As Dusk Falls was a game that came out earlier this year. It was like a heavy story-based game. There's a lot of real fun you could have with it. But I played it and I was like, I saw someone play it on stream. And that's really just going to have to do for me because, like, I don't know when I'll ever have the time. Even though it's not a terribly long game, you could probably beat it in like 8 hours. I just don't know when I'll ever have the time. I think at one point I did a list of the games that I was going to play, and it was like 8 hours. 8 hours. It was like 30 games. It was 30 different games that I just wanted to play coming out between that are already out and are coming out in the next like 12 to 15 months. And I was like, 30 games is a shit ton. And that was even after I had kind of prioritized down, like, okay, I'm not gonna play this, I'm not gonna play this, I'm not gonna play this. Like, there's another game that came out not too long ago, and Rakeem will know what game I'm talking about. Asterigos came out. And that looked really good, but like it looked like one of those games where I'm like, I want to play this, but I don't need to play this. And so it got prioritized out. And it's got nothing to do with budget. because Cold Steel, you know, they build that on you know, a shoestring budget. They reuse a lot of assets and shit like that. You know, Triangle
Wave.
Strategy, that's an expensive.
Wave.
Yeah, they run out of
Wave.
work. Yeah, like it's certain games that just like it's not about the budget. It's just about like how attached am I to this world? How excited am I about this concept and shit like that? Or do I just want to play a video game? Asterigos is like, I just want to play a video game of that style, but I don't need to play it. And so like that got prioritized out. And there are other games that just I have to like, hey man, if you want to get through the games that you want to play, well, some of these other ones are just gonna have to go. And it sucks doing that as an adult, but that comes with being an adult. In so much as, you know, you are an adult when you play video games. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. So if you enjoyed it, I need a few things from you. I need you to do us a favor and hit that subscription button on YouTube. I need you to follow us on Twitter and on TikTok. I definitely need you to tell your friends about us. Look, man, we've been having a nice little run of 90 plus views, 100 views. I'm so proud of y'all. Y'all been on it. Tell more of your friends.
Yeah.
We them guys. We them guys. I'm
We
telling
them
you.
dudes.
We them dudes. So like I tell your friends about us, and the most importantly of all, I need you to do me a personal favor and have an excellent week. Peace.